Never get comfortable.
Yeah.
Never get comfortable.
Yeah.
Like you allow yourself to settle into the relationship, but never get comfortable to the point where you're taking it, like indirectly taking advantage and
Mhm.
thinking that, oh, I no longer need to do this. They know I love them. Like, no, don't do that.
Yeah. Because the more you know, or the more you think you know a person, they've evolved already, right? And then, you
Yeah,
know,
so it's so important to check in. I think that's another thing where people fail, not fail, but they get disappointed in relationships is they think they know a person, and then when they do something for that person no longer like it, then they get mad, like, oh man, and they disappointed, like, because they thought they knew the person. But it's one of those things where don't get comfortable. Always ask questions. Always check in. Do you still like this? Do you still want this? Are you still interested in this? And a huge thing that I think is so important. I didn't heard somebody else mentioned this to me, and he was talking about how someone else told him this, and this is the mindset that he chooses to have every single day, is regardless of what him and his wife go through, he chooses to fall in love with her every single day. Waking up,
Mhm.
choosing, I am falling in love with my wife all over again. I
Mhm.
think that that works both ways, and people can cultivate that by just consciously choosing what's one thing that I can do to fall in love with my wife, you know, today. Like, what's one thing that I appreciate about her? What's one thing that I can look at that will draw me in, that I can focus on, that I can really feel into, um, and vice versa. It could go with the you can view your women can view their husband the same way as
Yeah.
well.
Hmm. Yeah, for sure. Because one thing that I've been implementing lately is waking up earlier before everyone else in the house. Um, and I have to be to work at 6. So, but I'm up at around like 3:45 in the morning. So I get up at around 3:45, just to be intentional about my prayer life, right? And to be grateful for like what we have and just like thinking on the good things. And I think that just helps keep me focused, no matter what happened last night. But to, get a new 24 and I get to start over again and think about those good things. So yeah, you got to be intentional every single day.
And I love that you do that, and I love that you mentioned that because it can be an example, a process that other people can connect to and start implementing as well. But that's a form of self-love. And when your tank is full, it's so much easier to fill everybody else's tank. It's so much easier to sow those seeds because one, you taking care of yourself. Two, you prioritizing your relationship with God. And I wholeheartedly just believe that by having that quiet time with God, that's kind of like cheat code. You know what I mean? Like God can give you insight on, do this today, inspired action, do this today, because he know what everybody else, especially as the leader of the house, like he know what your wife is struggling with. He know what the kids need. So when you prioritize those things, it allow everything else to fall into place. And then not only that, but also praying with your wife, like that's a form of connection. That's a deep form of intimacy when you can pray together before you go to bed, when you wake up in the morning, like set that tone, have that point of connection because that's a place of vulnerability. And when you're vulnerable with your partner, what happens? The guards come down. You're on even playing field. And
Yeah.
it makes things so much easier. You have more patience, you have more interest, you have more like excitement, more energy. And it's not to say like challenging times aren't going to come because they will, but you handle them differently when it's just that one challenge in front of you versus you carrying 10 and don't do anything about it.
Yeah.
Then another challenge come and what happened? You blow up. And it make it hard to forget those things as opposed to move past them.
I love that. I love it. Yeah, because my kids, they will hold me accountable. They were like, "Dad, you come in here and pray with us."
I love it.
We have a little. little placard on the wall that, that they're biblical affirmations, and they say it every night before they go to bed. I'm like, I gotta get ready to go and record. And they like, stop.
Right. I love it. Yes.
You know, yeah,
Pause. Pause because you can't get those moments back.
can't get them back. And I love that because when you do get a rhythm, you do have that accountability. Because my wife do the same thing. She's like, oh, we ain't prayed in a couple of days. I'm like,
Yeah.
yeah,
And
I'm
don't
just
it
living.
shift the mood? Like, how does that make you feel when you and your wife pray together? Like,
Oh, it is. I would say this, well, for us, because we created this rhythm. It is like this deep intimacy, right? Sometimes I ask her, I'm like, hey, what do you feel like God is saying to you in this season of your life? Or I'm like, how can I pray for you? Into those specifics. And it just makes the intimacy that much deeper. It's like we're connected physically, mentally, spiritually. And I just think it takes us to another level, even like when we're going to church and we together and stuff like that. I think that spiritual piece, it's like that happens in the heavens first before it happens in the natural world. So it's just like I feel that much more connected to her because we had a spiritual bond together. So
yeah.
I love it. And it helped us over time.
Yeah.
It keep us connected. So grateful for
You
that.
know, it remind me of like eating together. You know what I mean? Like when you and your partner, y'all enjoying a meal, it's both satisfying to both of y'all taste buds. It's a different form of satisfaction, whether if it's just you eating by yourself,
Mhm.
you feel full and it's good, but versus you and your partner eating together and both of y'all satisfied, both of y'all full. Like it's just like triple the amount of pleasure. And I feel like it's the same thing when you bring God into the equation as well.
Yes, for sure. Yeah. Yeah, because the food hit different, when you eating with somebody.
Yeah, especially somebody that you care about, somebody
For
that you
sure.
love. Like,
For sure.
and they know, it's good and they know it's good. Like, it's pleasure all around.
For sure. How can busy couples balance the demands of daily life while still prioritizing quality time with each other?
I I think one thing is always identify your why. Like,
Mm,
why do you make that decision? Why do you choose or why do you desire to prioritize intimacy? What benefits does it have? Just like how we just talked about seeking God together, the benefits that it have. You respond differently, you're more patient, so on and so forth. So I think that's the first step is identifying why you desire to prioritize that in your relationship. Like what benefits, what value is this going to have? Because on those moments and those busy days where you don't want to do it, it's gonna get you up to do it, just like going to the gym. Like when you set that out, you make a why. You're not gonna go in the gym one time, in my mind I do, but you're not gonna go in the gym one time and get instant results. In my mind I be like, oh, you see that wasn't there before. But in reality, like it's not going to be okay. I have this that I have in mind of why I'm doing this, and then I instantly get these results. But if you keep that why in front of you, you understand that over time, this is helping strengthen the relationship. And I really identify what ways does it strengthen a relationship? You have more sex, you have more quality time, you have more intimacy, you got their back. Like it uh doesn't breed room for a third party to come in, like
mm,
different things like that. So jot down like your why, and then another thing is incorporating it in the least amount of impact as possible. So, what I mean by that is prioritizing this time and incorporating it where it's not having a negative impact. So, say, for example, you and your wife want to spend some extra quality time together. Don't plan it while you got to go to work. Like that's putting more stress and strain on the relationship. But where can we find this within our schedule that it'll be easier for us to slide in? You both shower every day. Shower together. It doesn't have to equate in sex, but it's different things like that where you can prioritize spending that quality time together, even though it's busy.
mm.
Um, cooking dinner or getting dinner, whatever it is, like those main points that you have to do, try to incorporate one another and do it together as opposed to just one. But having that why and finding time hacks. Where can we spend quality time together?
Yeah.
And the third thing that I want to add to that is just being spontaneous, seeking those moments where, I just looked at the closet, so I'm gonna say this, but like where the kids in there doing their homework and you lock your partner in the closet and tickle them, or moments like that, just silly things. It doesn't have to be, okay, we're gonna go spend that 2 hours going on a date night. If your schedule don't allow for that, don't force it. But sitting down having a conversation in the closet, that's a form of intimacy that a lot of people don't even know, like the impact that it had, that closeness, that unity, like that eye contact, no distractions, the hiding. Like you'll be surprised at how many different benefits it will have, just seeking moments like that, just being spontaneous.
Yeah, the spontaneity. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good because and it's something that I'm working on as well is like not having my phone in the room at night
Mhm.
when we get ready to go to bed, like that whole thing. So when we are laying in bed, because I like laying on my back, but I'm like when I'm talking to my wife, I'm like, let me make sure I'm looking at her,
Uh-huh. Uh-huh. Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know. Let me
Because
look.
that's a form of connection as well. The eye
Mhm.
contact.
Yeah.
I know I'm big on that. And I think because my life is on social media and a lot of like my private clients, and then like the way that like I have to close my eyes to tap into, because if I'm looking at you and you scratch like this, my thought gone. I'm looking and paying attention. What's itching? Like it's so sometimes I have to close my eyes to like really zone out. And because of that, that's not a healthy form of communication. You know what I mean? Like I gotta close my eyes and look away. I know people be like, what's wrong with her? But hey, if you want this message or you want me to hear what you're saying, let me close my eyes. But I think that's a very valid point, making sure that you have that eye contact, because or even looking in the same direction. It's engaging as opposed to like this.
Yeah. Yeah, I heard Oprah Winfrey say one day when she interviewed her guests, especially like if they're walking, she said she liked to walk side by side
Mm.
because like you said, it's that it's like a common goal. It's like y'all going somewhere together.
Yeah.
And I think today, I think we might have lost that art form of looking eye to eye.
Yeah, because you can't. Like I'm looking at you, but you probably looking at that part of the screen, like the camera up here.
Yeah, right. Because I have to make sure I'm looking up at the camera to make sure that I'm looking that you see me, but you're kind of
Yeah,
down, so I still have to
exactly.
look in the yeah. So no, I get it. I can go on with the eye contact thing. There's so much I want to say about that, but I'll leave that alone. Uh, do you have some time, some creative date ideas that don't require a lot of time or money, but still build connection? I know you talked about like with the closet and stuff like that and the time like that. But what about like if you just strap for cash?
Easy peasy.